Hi guys, good morning. My name is Rosaline. I am making this quick video to share with you about my understanding of psychology. Actually, this is my assignment. So if you watch the video and if you like it or you dislike it, please hit a like. Okay, thank you. So in today's video, I will explain to you 5 topics. I will explain to you what is psychology, the goal of the psychology, the 7 perspectives of psychology, the potential career in psychology, and the last part I will share about the contribution of knowledge in psychology towards my self development. Okay, so let's start. Okay, what is psychology? So I was asked this question during my first day lecture. Okay, so I went home. I asked friends around me, and guess what? I asked 10 of them, and guess what? I gotten 10 different answers. And I even have an answer telling me that psychology is a delicious food. Yeah, it sounds very interesting. Okay, so psychology actually is a scientific study of mental process and behavior. The term psychology comes from 2 Greek words, psyche meaning the soul and logos meaning to the study of the subject. So okay, now we talked about the goal of the psychology. So everything we do as a human being that is objective or that is a goal, this is same goes to psychology. We have 4 main goals in psychology. They are to describe, to explain, to predict, and to control. So description is the first and important goal in psychology. We describe things every day. Okay, it is a simple act, simple task. Description is slightly different in psychology. So in psychology, we describe a problem, a circumstance, or a situation. Like for example, how do you describe bipolar disorder? So you might say that you might describe it. Bipolar patient, they might have mood swing over a short period of time. They get depressed easily, and then they have low energy in, day out. So this is to describe. And the second is to explain. So when you describe something, then the second following action will be to explain the cause of the human behavior. So for example, I take the bipolar patient as example. So you will probably need to explain why this patient they have this action, why they behave in this way. So the psychologist might run some tests or experiment to find out the explanation on the cause of their behavior. And when we come to the third goal of the psychology, which is to predict. So if you have the historical data of someone on how he behaved, and probably you are able to predict when it's going to be happen again. So prediction is the ability of forecast a person behavior. In some circumstances it might be 100% accurate, but still prediction is the very important goal in psychology. The last is to control. Okay, control is the most important goal in psychology. So psychologists, they strive to change and modify and make our life better. And for example, there are treatment and therapy method to treat the bipolar patient. So by knowing how the patient behave and what are their behavior, the psychologists be able to modify and to help them to live a better life. 明白吗? Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the 7 perspectives of psychology. So I have a picture to share with you, then I hope this can help you to understand more and to memorize. So this is A, B, and a human who has 3 eyes. Okay, so number 1 is a psychodynamic. It's also called psychoanalysis. So you remember the alphabet A? Okay, so psychoanalysis, psychodynamic, it was founded by Sigmund Freud. Okay, so this perspective very focused and study about unconscious mind. Psychoanalytic theory focus on the role of a person unconscious as well as the childhood experience. So in this perspective, they believe that how we behave now is actually influenced during the childhood experience and also the unconscious mind in our brain. Okay, so number 2, we talk about behaviorist perspective, which is the alphabet B. Okay, so the behaviorist focus on only observable behavior which can be measured and recorded. So B.F. Skinner was the hardcore behaviorist who are very emphasized there is no human instinct and no human mind, and human minds are not seen, trust cannot be measured. Behaviorism very much focus on association with learning. For example, classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Okay, number 3, we have a humanistic. So remember my picture? This is a human here. So we have humanistic perspective. So in humanistic perspective, it's a study of how human to live in a better life. And in this perspective, humanists, they believe that humans are born innate good. So in Chinese, we are saying 人之初性本善. And in this perspective, that they believe that we as human, we have the freedom and right to make the decision for our own good and to live in a better way. Okay, and number 4, we have biological. So just now we have a human, right? So every human we have a brain, so that's why it's linked to biological. So under the biological perspective, this perspective is study about the human brains and the neuron system, the genetics, the hormone, and how all these elements to influence or impact a human behavior. Okay, like the genetic pass on from your generation to you and how to influence you to behave. And number 5, we have cognitive perspective. Okay, so just now we talked about brain and what brain does think. Okay, so we have cognitive perspective. Cognitive perspective is studying about how human think, how do we do thinking, and how do we do problem solving and decision making, and also language learning as well. And here we also have cross-cultural perspective. So just now I have a human, and then I think everybody knows that no one lives alone and no one is an island. So we are living in a society, okay? So different society, we have different group of people as in the background, different culture, different way of living. So in this cross-cultural perspective, we tells about how different cultural impacts a human behavior. For example, how poverty in United States to influence and impacts the people to live their life. Okay, so now it comes to the last, which is the evolutionary perspective. In this perspective, just now in my picture, I have a human with 3 eyes. So this additional eyes is the evolution. Okay, so maybe one day we will evolve to have 3 eyes. Okay, so in this perspective, it was promoted and founded from Charles Darwin, and this perspective study how organism evolve, how human brain, how our brain evolve. And then Charles Darwin was the prominent in evolution's perspective, and in his theory, is saying that it is by natural selection, and also that organisms are more adaptable in the environment, are more likely to produce offspring. And Charles Darwin also emphasized that only survival can pass the gene to the next generation and so on. That's what we call survival. So these are the 7 perspectives of psychology. Okay, now let's look into what are the career options we have for psychologists. Okay, so it is a huge and wide option for psychologists, I would say. So psychologists are everywhere in our daily life. Maybe you don't know, you are not noticed about it, but they are in education line, they are in healthcare, social, forensics, organization, sports, and so on and so forth. Different field in and different industry they require different subject expert in psychology. For example, you can be clinical psychologist to help the real world problems such as depression, panic disorder, anxiety, and disorder. So you can also be sports psychology as well. And sports psychologists, they involve in motivate athlete and how to deal with injury and how to motivate and so on. And you can also in education line be a counselor. In multinational organization, you can be organizational psychologist who's to focus on the workplace behavior and how to help the employee to increase their productivity. Okay, it seems like massive option, so it is very important to think what interests you and what rewards you to be in that field and in that role. Okay, the last part of my today video is I will share about the contribution of knowledge in psychology towards self-development. So to me, self-development is related to my mental and my body physical health and also a spiritual growth. Okay, so these are the three big things I very focused on, and with the three things combined together, it's produced and determine the quality of my life. So there are 3 points I would like to share. First is about the thing called learning. Okay, so learning is fun, it's interesting, and the most important thing is motivate me. Okay, so it's drive me to be a better person. So continue to learn is something always in my self-development plan. Picking up a new knowledge always can motivate me. Okay, but you might ask me, why psychology? Why not science? Why not account? And why not others? Okay, the reason being, I would say psychology is something, it looks so close to me, but it looks so very far to me. Okay, so I do not have a proper knowledge, so and I want to learn about it. Okay, secondly, it's about my life contentment. In my personal self-development plan, I always want to do something which make me happy, okay, and meaningful. So I am a curious person, and there are so much to learn about psychology. And finally, the reason being the contribution of the knowledge in psychology towards me is to support and giving back to the society. With the proper knowledge in learning psychology, it's helped me to share my knowledge with my peers, my family members, and my friends. Okay, so with this kind of professional insight and knowledge, I can help myself as well to help others in decision making, stress management, and to live a life in a better way. Okay, I want to make a conclusion for today's video. So I have covered 5 main topics. I hope by end of the video you at least have some idea about psychology. Okay, that's the end of my video. Thank you for watching. Yes, and I hope you like the video and hit the like. Thank you very much and have a good day.